Everything looks good. I'll do introductions, and then it'll be you guys' show while I go finish doing some grown-up stuff, unfortunately. So this is online channel.
See how that's going. See how long my video stays. Showing 5G connection, but that just go in and out from 4 to.
Let me bring up the chat
Looks like
box.
Matt or Sublett already started disconnecting from me already. I didn't see you like tired.
All right. Yeah. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. It is the team again, coming to you live with another session of Team Talks. So we'll start in introductions. You guys already know me, so I'll let I guess it's Giancarlo, Sublett, and then Trey hit their intros, and then it's gonna be their show.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Giancarlo. Pleasure to be here. I don't know what we're talking about tonight. Sublett knows what we're talking about, so we'll let him get into that. Go ahead, boss.
What's up, guys? Next introduction, Trey.
So tonight we're gonna go in over a little bit at 13 hype and how things should potentially shake up the meta. And I know everybody's excited. Sneak peek. Talking about.
Who was Mystic?
Joined.
Tim Palacious. Sorry, guys. I'm joining.
Oh, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, Tim.
Doing good, bud. All right.
The
So what are we talking about? Set 13?
All right, so I thought it would be a good idea for us all to discuss like basically a deck that exists in the meta right now and how that deck changes with set 13. And so the simple guidelines for this discussion are: what is the deck you're going to talk about? What tools does it get in set 13? Like, what are the cards available to it? Whether they're good or bad, what are the new cards that are available to it? Like, for example, the Dark Broly deck gets, the 6-drop 30k Overwhelm guys. You can discuss those or something. And after you discuss the tools, say what you think would actually go in the deck. How is the deck going to adapt using those new tools? You think that they warrant main deck or side deck, and give like a rough idea of what you think the ratios would be. And then finally, do you think the deck going into set 13 will still be a meta-relevant deck?
Okay, I was about to say, if Eddie logs off, that'll just close the stream, so.
It would. Okay, he's back on us. Okay, so who wants to start this?
I don't know. I'm not prepared. What?
I can
All right,
go
fine. I'll start.
Trey, talk. All right. Well, all right, go for it.
All right, so let's just Invoker. All right, I'm going to talk about Invoker. We already understand how Invoker works in the meta right now. It's a very controlling deck that has a set win condition that on turn 5 you win the game either by dealing all of the damage to your opponent or victory striking them, dealing all of the damage to your opponent. Now, Invoker and Multicolor in general doesn't actually get any brand new tools in this coming up set, but it does get some cards that are useful to the deck. So I'll go ahead and just discuss one right now. There are no graphics, but whatever. So there's a Unison that comes out in the next set called Pan and Giru Energy Fortification. Okay, it is a one specified cost blue Unison with 10k power. It has a +1 and a -2. The +1 is if your leader is a mono blue Saiyan card, add a blue battle card, blah, blah, blah. No one cares. It's a really bad +1. You never use it for that. It does have a -2, however, that is quite important for Invoker, you could say. So this -2 is during your opponent's next turn, they can only attack one time with battle cards with energy cost greater than their energy. And so in the deck, you tap 2 energy for it, play the card, and then you -2 it away, and you have essentially violent raised your opponent without them being able to counter it, without like they can't cooler it if it's aggro sin, It can't use the 1-drop Goku to punish you and make you discard an additional card off of it. And the card you would not discard for Violent Rays can now simply be used as your 1 negate for the turn. And so that is one card that goes to Invoker. And then another card we could discuss that Invoker could use would be the other Unison, the Majin Buu one. Okay, the Majin Buu Assault of the Agents of Destruction. It's a 4 specified cost Unison. It's a double strike blocker. ±0. Activate main, you draw 1 card, and at the start of your opponent's next main phase, you switch this card to active mode, so you get your blocker back. And then if your leader card is blue, you untap 1 mono blue energy. Right? And then the -1 is an auto. When your opponent attacks with a battle card, you get to pick one of their battle cards. It doesn't have to be the attacking one, and you just go right on ahead and bottom deck that. Okay? Now, as far as other cards in the set go that Invoker could use, there aren't any. They all specify mono red or mono blue leader, or in some way, shape, or form, they're just not, you can't play them effectively. So these are the 2 cards that I will discuss here. And so when we go into a deck like Invoker, we consider, for example, you cannot play Unisons very effectively. You can't combo with them, and your deck doesn't have a lot of combo power as it is. You can't cycle them with your leader. And even worse, you can't really charge them outside of like turn 1, because then they don't feed your Invoker effects. And so it's like 1 less spell every turn that you can use, essentially being 1 less energy each turn on your opponent's turn on defense. Now, with that in mind, we can't run both of these. We're not going to play a 6 lineup of these Unisons. And in fact, we're not going to play the Buu at all. The Buu costs 4 energy, and it only untaps a mono blue, which means that you have to then dimension magic to get, multicolors back. It's not going to work that well. And you tap 4 for this card, and it doesn't actually progress your game state very much. It stops 2 attacks, and you still probably lose the game, or you didn't need it to win the game. And so ultimately, the Majin Buu is ineffective and kind of worthless. But the Pan is a 4 of. And the reason for it is, again, it replaces Violent Rays in a way. You can now move Violent Rays to your side deck and use this Pan to serve a very similar purpose, but there is no swinging under Violent Rays with this card. If you're against like Dark Broly and they drop that Gohan, 15k Gohan that says when one of their battle cards leaves the board, you play it, one of their answers for attacking under Violent Rays, well, if they have 3 energy or less, that's not going to work out. And so the Pan actually works better in a lot of situations. And the most important thing is it's blue, which means on turn 1 you can charge it and play Arena, which you cannot do with Violent Rays. And so ultimately the Pan moving forward, it becomes a 4 of in the deck. In the main deck, Violent Rays probably moves to the side deck. Now, with this Pan, what place will Invoker find in the meta? Unfortunately, this cannot be answered with just Pan. It turns out that Invoker is one of those decks, like any control deck, really, that strongly depends on how the metagame looks as far as if it's a good deck or a bad deck. If the metagame is a lot of really low to the ground, really aggro nonsense, it's killing you on turn 2. If the metagame looks like a lot of Red Broly, for example, Invoker doesn't have much of a place in that meta. And if the metagame is mid-range or slow decks like Baby, Invoker is just going to stomp those things. And so if we see, for example, a tier list of Baby, Dark Broly, and something like King Vegeta or King Piccolo, Invoker's got a good shot. If we see Red Broly, Aggro Sin, and anti-meta Vegex nonsense, Invoker might have a pretty hard shot. And so that's kind of what it looks like moving in the meta. And guys, that's kind of like how the flow of it. That's the flow that I'm imagining us doing today.
You really about to play 4 of that thing?
Yeah.
Golly, that seems like a lot.
It might be. I mean, you start at 4 and you test down. You don't want to test up.
Right? Yeah, that's fair. You just jam it every turn. Is that the thought process?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So on turn 2, you play it, you minus it. Turn 3, if it's going to do something again like that, you just play it and minus it. You don't even need Vegeta. Yeah. And then on turn 4, again, you can just play it and minus it. Or at that point, your topos are now live. Okay. Like with this Pan, it kind of allows you to focus more on topo.
Yeah.
instead of Violent Raise as your turn ender. Because if your pan's been denying that damage, then they can't swing through a topo. If you're at 5 life, they can't swing through a topo. They just can't
Yeah.
avoid. They don't have the resources for it.
No.
And so, like, it kind of gets to the point where a 3 Vegeta might actually make sense. And I vehemently disagree with 3 Vegeta. I think that you play 4 Vegeta because we played an entire format of check lands, and Vegeta's the best check land because it also says Invoker.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like this card could very well eat one of those slots just because against certain decks it really does just pass their turn, and against other decks it's the easiest card to side out. Which Invoker has such a tight core,
Yeah.
side decking can be really rough sometimes. And so this card I think is a very good card for Invoker for sure. And testing wise, it has been a very good card.
Okay. Matt, since you signed in late, we're talking about decks from the current format that get better in the newer format.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to your point about Pan. Like, I know the testing it at 4, but to me it screams a 3 of main, just because like you really want to see like 1 to 2 copies max in most matchups in that first 3 to 4 turns of the game, because once you get to like turn 4 and beyond with Invoker, your deck's already doing what it wants to do. So I could see like 3 main and then the 4th in the board. And then that way, like in that matchup where you are on the play, like you can guarantee it against those decks on the first 2 to 3 turns of the game. So I think that's actually like a really cool call in Invoker for sure. It makes a ton of sense because like turn 1, you're going to either have an energy up or you're going to be doing TOP. Turn 2, drop your pan -2, basically skip their turn. So no, I think that's a great call. I think that gives the deck a really nice edge in a lot of matchups where it didn't necessarily have it before, which is kind of sweet. I am interested to see how that plays out against some of these decks that are starting to play more aggressive strategies with the battle cards that are in line with their energy cost, which is healthy. like it's good that we're starting to see that, but I'm interested to see how that's going to play out.
That's what Topo's for.
Mm-hmm.
Because decks that play on their curve usually lose to Topo.
Yeah, true.
Unless you're Mecha Frieza and you play Tyrannical Blow in the main.
If you're Mecha Frieza, Invoker's not scared of you anyway, though. To be completely fair.
Oh, sure, bro.
Fair.
Sure.
Very fair. Very fair.
You want to prove it? I'll prove it. I haven't had a hard Mecha match yet.
All right, Trey, you want to go next?
So we could go a few routes with this upcoming decks that we know that are a thing now, and then we can just mainly talk about yellow and how it's going to get impacted by Power of a Super Saiyan. That card in itself, after testing a few like decks with the card, it is not as like broken as I thought it was, but it is very useful in the sense it cycles cards, triggers Bergamo, Poutine. It does everything that yellow wants to do.
Yeah.
As well as cycling like a card and filling for overrun. But is it a 3 or a 4 of depending on the deck, or a 2 of depending on however you want to go with it? But it does make the Mecha Frieza promo so much better. So it is most definitely at least a 3 of, in my opinion. Almost every deck that will play it. The only reason you wouldn't play 4 is if you really we're trying to keep your deck as close to 50 as possible, because it will be increasing your.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, like,
I'm not even sure if Mecha Frieza might play 2 copies. Matt can probably correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't think Power Super Saiyan is as important inside of.
Now you want to play like 3. I was playing 4 and then I eventually cut down to 3 simply because the new Battle Evolution Frieza says when you play a extra card on your opponent's turn, so it costs 1 energy. So you play POS for free for 0 energy, and then you play that Frieza for 1, and it's a 15k. It's a 4 drop for Celzino, even though you only play 1. You tap 1, and then you look at the top 5 and add Unite Symbol. It's very nice. Or I mean, you add any extra card, but like your ceiling is Unite Symbol. Or sometimes you want Giant Ball, whatever. Like everything's matchup dependent, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what do you think of the Power of a Super Saiyan? How it impact the deck have access to card?
Yeah, so I think, of course, if you like make a tier list of like the yellow decks, like Mecha obviously is gonna be at the top of that just because it does the most with the least amount of resources. I do think that Mecha, like the reason why I play it at 3 is because more than anything, I like that it's also a negate. Like, it doesn't have to just be the effect, but then being able to have another free negate as well is kind of sweet. So I think that's why I would play 3. 4 just seems really heavy because, like, your life is your resource. So it's like you can't just burn your life willy nilly. Like, you can't. You have to pick and choose your spots. So 3 feels like the correct number. But like, if you take a look at like decks like Gohan and Icarus, like, that's one of your favorite decks right now, Trey. Any of the yellow decks, I think the biggest reason why I like the card so much is because it just enables the Frieza promo, which in pretty much every deck, which one drop 15k offensively or defensively, it's a good way to stifle a lot of decks and turn on Bergamo. So if anything, you're probably going to see yellow decks have that package of like Power over Super Saiyan, Mecha Frieza promo, and then that unlocks Bergamo, which is probably like one of, if not the best yellow battle card. So it's like, I think it's like a chain reaction.
You know what deck that card is really bad? You're talking about Riposte, right? Riposte is super bad against King Cold because they can just rest their field spells, man. I realized that, when I was playing OG Green Broly, they would like, he'd play Riposte and I would swing and I would just rest my field spells. So like, freaking King Cold has 3 to 4 field spells, so they have 3 to 4 free attacks. Granted, you have Bergamo, but like, that's like, I think Mega Frieza. No, King Cole's actually pretty good. I played it for the first time today. I literally read all the cards today and played like 2 games with it. It's fine. It's a green deck, bro. Like, it's as good as every other green deck is, which is like, at best it's mediocre. Like, that's how green is right now.
So you're saying Dormant is good?
No, I mean, there's like a much better cards in King Cold than Dormant.
I mean,
another thing to note, back on the yellow.
My bad. Go for it.
Green later.
My bad.
So in yellow, there are a few cards that do seem significant, but I'm not sure if they will end up being significant. Mainly the yellow Goku Black promo. That card can help in Shinron control in the sense it helps you awaken a turn early at a higher life total, which could be relevant. I'm not sure if they'll deviate from going back to the old school build, but I could see it being useful if you do want to play sort of other version of that deck. But I'm not sure if there are too many other yellow generic cards that are just going to help the current decks that we have available other than Power of a Super Saiyan. Those other cards are very oriented to work for the Android deck that's coming out and other decks that will be just coming out in set 13, like the Gohan Future deck. But
I like the Trunks Unison. He's pretty good.
I just don't see myself ever playing him over the 2-cost Vegeta. That card is so busted.
Card's pretty good. Card's pretty good. You're right.
I tap them out. It's typically my win con when I'm playing the Icarus deck. I tap you out with Bergamo and that card, and then you're like, why do I have to deal with 8 plus a Bergamo plus the leader? And sometimes I even have to, if they're trying to defend those early, I just swing them with a little vanilla.
Yeah.
So it's pretty solid. But that's pretty much it for yellow, in my opinion, unless you guys want to think of any other card that really is super generic.
Nothing generic, but I do think it is something to pay attention if people can figure out a way to use basically like the cheap cards, like the Son Goku Trusted Ally, the Vegeta Trusted Ally, because like they come down for 1 energy just as long as you have a Trunks that's 3 or more in play, and they're activate battle. So they actually have some pretty cool effects. So I don't know how strong that they're actually going to be. But if you can build a deck around it with like Planet Vegeta to be able to tutor these things up, like they're pretty sweet actually. Being able to like rest things on command or kill something that's in rest mode that costs 3 or less. So it's more so like cute stuff if you can find like synergy homes for it. But overall, like you're pretty spot on. Like the yellow stuff is pretty locked to the newer archetypes aside from the big Android 17 and 18. Right? Yeah, the 5-drop you can play that in yellow decks, but it's just how good is that card really when you're paying 5 or 4 energy for it?
Never good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
The main issue with those little Goku and Vegetas you're talking about is the fact that they are 10k. If they were 15k bodies, they would be like probably staple-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything they could play, you play it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vegeta's good, right? It kills an attacking 3-drop or less, so it's like, all right, well, King Piccolo is no longer getting any damage to unless it's Drum, so whatever.
It's usually Drum.
I mean, Tambourine always attacks. Like, Tambourine, it always attacks. Yeah. All right,
So let's go ahead and move to red, Mister
I got
Tim
you.
Blaze. We got Tim. We got Tim.
Oh,
We got
yeah,
Red
I
Man
got
himself.
we got the better red player. Go for it, Tim.
To be honest, I haven't played Red in a
Damn.
long time, probably
All right,
maybe a
yeah,
year.
let's stop. You already know Mr. Pan over there.
Am I doing red? All right. All right. So there's 3 red decks in set 12, right? There's King Piccolo launch, which is like not really red, and then there's Red Broly. Red Broly is like the one that will see the most success moving into the next format because Red Broly is kind of broken and it's really good. People just don't play it, and once people play it, they're gonna see success with it. That's how I don't know. The deck's just really good. Um, that's how I feel about Red Broly. King Piccolo just stagnates, right? Like it got one card of support, and that card was trash, and it can't use King Vegeta's imposing presence because it's not a Saiyan. So like it's not that the deck gets worse, the deck stagnates, and when a deck stagnates, it will never compete with the new meta unless it's like the most broken deck, like or you know what I mean. Like Invoker has some stagnation, but like I think Invoker is just an overall better deck than King Piccolo, which is why like it's been able to compete. Whereas King Piccolo, I think, will just fall off. And King Piccolo just has a really bad King Vegeta matchup. Like King Vegeta is just killing stuff left and right. So Launch is just a worse version of King Vegeta. Like King Vegeta is a 20k leader, and Launch is a 5k leader. So it's just like automatically better. Um, so Launch stagnates. I don't know if Launch got any support. I don't really play Launch, but I don't think Launch is going to see much play. And then King Vegeta is just going to be like the red deck now. If you want to play red green, you're going to play King Vegeta. If you want to play mono red, you're going to play King Vegeta. If you want to play red blue, you can still play launch. You can play like the Invoker launch build, which is like I'm not like a huge fan of the deck, but like that's probably the best red blue deck that isn't just Invoker. I know Sublett, don't look at me crazy, but like um I mean
counter.
the counter is fine. You just side it. Like I would never main it because like why would you? I don't know. It seems like if they're smart and like roughly 5% of players are smart, right? No, I'm just kidding. But like as soon as they see it exist, like game 1 you might sneak it in, but then again, like what they're just gonna tap one for dormant. They're just gonna tap one for riposte. Like you can't, like riposte exists now. It's not even an extra card. So yellow, you're never gonna hit a free Nimbus from yellow. Green has dormant. They'll just tap one for dormant. Black will just tap one for power burst. Violent Rays is like a card that's not going to affect you if you're playing King Vegeta, so whatever. And then it's like it's like it's a good card that ends up being mediocre because the 1 mana free negates aren't broken. That's basically how it is.
I will like tag team with you here. Like
Go ahead.
you keep subtly mentioning King Vegeta's imposing presence, but like we kind of really do need to like discuss how good that card is. Like
Fine. It's Sensu game.
It's a little like ignorant inside of Red Broly.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that you don't have to worry about tapping out anymore against most of those decks because you're faster than them. So
Yeah.
and if you do play properly against most of the decks, you're gonna put a pretty big like heap of damage on them early on, especially against if people still try to play Invoker and Baby and all those slower decks.
Yeah.
It could potentially push them out of the meta completely.
No, definitely not. It's not that good. No, Red Broly's like a deck that it like loses to black decks. So like black decks are really really good right now, or really good in set 13. And there's like 3 different really good black decks. And so like, and then it's also really bad against Mecha Frieza, and Mecha Frieza is going to be huge. And then actually Baby has like a completely fine Red Broly matchup. Baby versus Red Broly is not bad at all for Baby. So it's like all these decks are just good against. The thing is that Red Broly has the highest ceiling. Like this is why Majin Vegeta won a regional in best of 1 webcam, because like when you play for the ceiling, sometimes you just get lucky. It's like Red Broly just has the highest ceiling, so like when it hits that ceiling, no deck is going to survive against that. Doesn't matter if it's Baby, Invoker, and Mecha Frieza. Like when it hits that ceiling, it's going to hit the ceiling. Like if Mecha Frieza doesn't open the one Cold Bloodlust, 1 Tyrannical Blow, maybe Death Blaster, like you can just not open those cards, and then Red Broly can still just pop off. And that's like when you hit that ceiling, that you win. Good job. Like the game's over.
Yeah, yellow does have a pretty good matchup against Red Bully.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I just again like the deck's not oppressive. It's just the best aggro, probably the best aggro deck. So like when you have a deck that like aggro needs to exist. So like when it's just gonna be in the format. You're gonna play it. You're gonna play it probably once an event or maybe like it probably fall off. You know, people tend to like play it so you don't think you'll play it once an event.
No. Red Broly's not the best aggro deck. It's the worst aggro deck.
No.
Like in the scope of aggro decks, it's the worst one.
No. Not aggro versus aggro. It's I get what you're saying. You're saying aggro, like aggro Sin is the best aggro deck. You're probably right. I get what you're saying.
Or Vegex or like something else.
I get that. I get that.
Killed itself. They're not the
No. I understand Red Broly loses to other aggro decks, but what I'm saying is that like it has the highest ceiling of any aggro deck. But like, I mean, I don't know. Aggro Sin's like right there. Like
I don't know, man. Cell Zeno's a pretty high ceiling, my friend.
And is way high. On turn 2?
Yeah. No, you're right. No, aggro Sin.
He carries you 110 quad strike.
No,
I forgot that aggro Sin existed. Excuse, you guys are right. Aggro Sin is the best aggro deck. My bad. But I was specifically talking about red, so my wires got crossed there.
No, I see what you're saying about Red Broly. So for instance, I was on the 2 choices for the Gamers event. It was Red Broly and Mecha. And like as a person, I really like my tournaments to come down to how many decisions I'm actually able to make throughout the course of games. And the problem with Red Broly is you don't have all of those decisions that you can make. And exactly the perfect combo.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to make that many decisions. Like there's some times where you can make some really alternate lines of play and do something nifty to try and win a game, but you're so dependent on Vampa is the optimal turn 1. Vampa into promo is the optimal turn 1. Vampa into promo into Ba into Paragus on turn 1 is the optimal turn 1. And so it's like anytime you hit slightly less than optimal, that's another life that you have to account for. That's another life you're going to have to crit. Like that's another resource you're going to have to exhaust. And so it's like there's so many things that can just go wrong in that first 2 turns that makes it so it's like playing it in a best of 3 event makes it feel pretty bad. Like regionals, like I could see busting it out for a regional if you're just trying to get hot, like and like you said, like hit the ceiling against your opponents. But in a best of 3 event, man, it's tough. Like you don't want to lose like to something that you can't control.
Yeah.
There's a big problem with Red Broly in regionals right now because it's best of 1. Regionals have nothing in between. It is balls to the wall aggro, or I'm not letting you play the game control.
Exactly.
And Red Broly just loses to these guys, and it loses to these guys. It even loses to Invoker if your Vampa misses. Like, so, Red Broly, I don't. Yeah. You'll see it at events. We will 100% see it at events because. Yeah, King Vegeta's Imposing Presence is certainly a stupid card for them to use.
Yeah.
But, like, the decks that already beat it really don't care about King Vegeta's Imposing Presence. They didn't win because they attacked a bunch. They won because they just were better than Red Broly.
They attacked, like, one time and threw their entire hand into a chomper or something like that,
Yeah, I said,
I will say,
20, it's a 5K now?
Yeah.
So yeah, red just stagnates. Like the red decks that exist stagnate, and then the red deck that comes out is just the best red deck. And then Bardock sucks, and King Vegeta's really good. That's
to go back to that card you mentioned, right? That card you said you wanted a sideboard. Hidden the counter. That card is actually a main deck card because it fetches switching gears from the deck. So it's like
what does it do? I thought it was counter.
No. So the second part of the card is pay a red, discard the card, search your deck for Vegeta's Lineage, costs 3 with 10,000 power, which is switching gears because it's Vegeta's Lineage, and you just get to play it from the deck.
All right. I'm going to have to read that. Perfect example of when I say I don't read cards is literally what I mean. I read counter, and then I didn't read the rest of the cards. So I'm a serial non-card reader, so like I'll revisit this and then let me read it, and I'll agree with Matt because he's right. Yeah, switching gear. Okay, yeah. We're gonna caveat in King Vegeta real quick. I won't talk about it much, bro. Don't buy all them promos. All them promos suck. All you need all you need is Vegeta switching gears. You're not playing any Gokus. You're not playing any Brolys. You don't need Raditz. You don't need nothing. You're gonna play 4 Vegeta Young Invaders. You're gonna play 4 switching gears. You're gonna play 4 critical Vegeta. All you need is switching gears. Pay $20 for them. $80 for the playset, maybe even $100. You're gonna be good to go, bro. King Vegeta's not that expensive. Well, not any more expensive than any other red deck.
I do think you'll end up. I think the optimal number will end up being 6 total Young Invaders, just because of the variance. Like
No, you bottom deck them every time. That's it. You need one.
No, but so if you play it on your opponent's side of the field, and let's say they play they combo it away because they can.
Yeah,
I know it's not. I know
no,
it's not. I know it's not optimal, but if they do it, then you don't want to. What if I have a Young Invader in my life? What if I draw a Young Invader? It's just you don't want to get nasty.
I gotta disagree.
Joker's gonna combo it every time.
Yeah, I've been playing because when I'm playing the deck, it's why do I have all these shitty cards in my deck that are literally unplayable? And it's you literally need one. I'm gonna play it to your field. I'm gonna bottom deck it. I'm gonna play it to my field. I'm gonna bottom deck it. If I draw it, I'm gonna bottom deck it with switching gears. If there's 3 in my life, then great. I lose. Great. Okay. I'm not meant to win that game. That's fine. There's 3 in my life.
What about? Could you maybe go to 5? Could you play 5 Young Invaders?
What's the point? What's the difference between 4 and 5?
The one extra one.
Nah,
exactly.
It's such a such a small percent. No, there's no just in case. Dragon Ball is the most consistent card game. We don't need to play cards just in case.
I think you go 6. I gotta agree with 6.
No, you play the deck. Play the deck. You're gonna be
question. Do you wear a condom or do you pull out?
No, neither. Neither.
I don't understand that, bro. If you're trying not to have a child, I
wore condom one time in my entire life.
Trey, you got me on this. Trey, can you wait?
Listen to me. I wore a condom one time in my entire life, and I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Dragon Ball Super, the card game. I think it's 6 Young Invaders. I agree.
I think you're all wrong. You build optimally. You don't make your deck worse for no reason. You build this deck as optimally as possible.
You're making it worse for no reason.
No, you're not, bro. You need 1 in deck. How many? Think about it. You need 1 in deck the entire game. Why would you play 6 of? You do not need 5. You can play 5 if you want.
You should play 1 copy.
Yeah. Bet. All right, too easy. No, you play 4. You play 4, and that's it.
1 for your life and 1 not for your life.
Then just play 2, man. Play 2.
No, you play 4. You guys are not thinking logically. You play 4. That's it. That's all you need is 4.
I like when my decks always function.
They don't always function. I'm telling you, dog. I've been playing the deck nonstop for a week. Never once have I looked in. I'm down to 4. Never once have I, not a single time in 50 games have I looked in my deck and whiffed. Never once.
5 games. Whenever he says a number, it's always an order of magnitude.
No, I have been playing King Vegeta nonstop since Matt sent me his list last week. It is now, ever since Tuesday of last week, I've been playing Untap every single day, and I've been playing King Vegeta every single day. King Vegeta is the most fun deck I've played since King Piccolo, and I've been playing this deck a lot on Untap. Never once have I whiffed a single time. Never once. You play 4. There's no reason, because when you draw that Young Invader, you can't combo with it on the front side. It's a dead card in hand. It's a horrible card. You don't want them in your deck, because when you're top decking, you're gonna draw a Young Invader, and you're this is the worst card in my deck. You just play 4. That's it.
All right. So anyway, though,
how many Garnet did Jim Knight play?
Blue or
1.
Green? Blue or green? Where are we going?
Before that, I just wanted to. I think that the counter is a 2 of in most red decks, except red. I think that King Piccolo should use 2 of it because it stops Dormant, which stops King Piccolo, and it stops Sparking Dimension.
What's this card's name?
King Vegeta, Hidden Ambitions.
Hidden Ambitions. I'm looking for it.
I mean, if you get your opponent with it once, you win the game. The card is that good, and otherwise they have to play off curve or off their turn to play around it. I think that you play 2 of this card. especially in a deck like King
You
Piccolo.
can charge it, you can combo with it. It's not like
Yeah.
something totally
Oh
dead.
shit! No, it also plays a double striker from deck that draws a card. This card's actually nuts. You can play 1-drop Borgos with this card. No, Vegeta's Lineage. I'm tripping. Never mind. All right, nah, this card's fine. You're right. I got you.
It just stops dormant, and that's cool. It
No,
stops
yeah, no, you play it.
Dimension
No,
Magic Sparking, or any of the Sparking dudes for that
Yeah, yeah.
matter.
No, it plays switching gears from deck, which is just another reason that you do not have to play 6 invaders, because you can just play switching gears directly from deck without an invader.
All right, so switching gears, green or blue? Who's doing it?
Nice.
I don't know. I can talk about Green Burley, and that's it. It's the only green deck that I think is good enough.
I know that Eddie and I talked a bit about King Cold on the last team talks because it was like being talked about in the chat. And I agree that I think it's a good deck, like overall. Like I think it does some really strong things, unique things. Plays a unique style of game, which is cool, and it does some things that are gonna catch you off guard. But I just think I think it just suffers from the best of 3 environment and losing the dice roll. Like it's like if you're playing in a best of 3 set and you're going second in King Cold and your opponent's going first, it's like you really want to be able to get everything going as quickly as possible. Like, and I know that Dormant's kind of your catch-up card, but it's only going to do so much to keep those games close. And I'd rather just be doing something much more powerful than playing King Cold. Like, again, it just falls into that mindset of like, yeah, my deck is working, but how hard am I actually working to win these games? Like, and so that's where King Cold kind of falls. Is it's like, is it a good deck? Sure, but is it a deck that's going to totally win in a best of 3 event where money's on the line? Probably not.
No, I think it just falls into the category of fair is not good enough. Like King Cold's a very cool, fair deck, has a really good unison, has every good green card. Not good enough. That's it. It's fair. And then like you're playing a fair deck against a deck that like plays 5 free cards a turn. It's not fair. That's it.
Yeah, but those support cards are great for Green Broly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Any card that's good in King Cold is good in Green Broly. And so like you have the 3-drop that becomes a topo. You have the 5-drop Frieza that becomes a 3-drop, which is like a huge win con. There's like Effortless Strike. Yeah, Cooler Effortless Strike, which is like a 1-mana counter play, excuse me. One energy counter.
One vanilla counter? Was that what you said?
I said 1 mana.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did.
You did.
I said mana. Anyway.
I will say that Clash Coup gets some direct support, but obviously we know that Clash Coup is the same category that fair is not good enough.
No, yeah. Clash Coup is like actively unplayable because Roshi got banned. Which is sad.
If this game were just about 1-for-1s, then green would be the best color there is.
Absolutely.
But it's like, but no, man, like this game is X for ones all day, and green has like none of those, except for the green leader from set 10 that could wipe the opponent's field. Like, but even then, you were critting yourself to life. So it's like your X for 1 was like rough.
I mean, OG Broly has an X for 3 when it swings.
Yeah, exactly. That's why that's like probably the most competitive green deck coming out is because it has that ability, right?
Yeah.
Too bad the front side is terrible.
It's
absolutely terrible.
Yes.
I actually just wish the front side was vanilla sometimes. It'd be better if it was vanilla.
Speaking on green, though, we should also discuss the Dabura, a side deck option for non-green decks that, like, for example, can put Baby back in that match that it had no chance in. So the Dabura I'm talking about, for those of you watching, it's called Dabura Ritual at Hand. Costs 3 energy. God forbid you ever have to tap 3 for this. Auto for 1 mana. And it's discarded from your hand by an opponent's skill. You play it from your drop area. And then auto, when this card is played, you draw 2 cards. So against those hand destruction decks, this card not only recycles itself, it draws you another card, and it puts a body on the board. And so it effectively sets them back 2 turns, because most hand destruction decks, at least in the early game, are discarding 1 to 2 cards. And so if you can recover 1 to 2 cards off their discard, you are buying yourself 1 extra turn in that game. And so this card is very much out there to prevent something like OG Broly from ever becoming a real deck, unfortunately. Because if it ever did, it just 3 of these live in the side deck, and 1 mana up, and we're back. And like that in best of 3 where your opponent can brick and not find their field spell, like that literally means the game. Because in the other game you have this Dabura and it just makes things go wrong. And so the decks that automatically lose to Broly don't necessarily automatically lose to Broly. Granted, Broly is not a deck that you're going to see that often when you go to an event. Odds are you're not going to see it.
No, you'll never see
if
it.
you
You'll see it in Miami on the 29th by me, and then you'll never see it ever again.
He's right. You'll see it at the last table, having lost to an Invoker.
Absolutely. Table 500, it doesn't matter. I'll be there.
But so a card like this existing not only counters that, it counters any time hand destruction becomes real.
Mhm.
And so this is a very good card to consider in your side deck if you just have 2 extra slots and you don't know where you're going, but you suspect green might be there somewhere. Green generally has some kind of hand destruction effect. Rosie, for example, is an insane card that just fits in any green deck because it says your opponent discards 5 cards or takes some amount of damage and discards cards.
Yep.
It's just so good in any green deck that can afford to tap 3 energy for it. And this Dabura counters it very much because then it can also just swing on the Rosie after the dust has settled.
Yeah.
And so
I will say that one caveat: I've gotten triple Deborah and still won before. So
yeah, it can happen. I mean, if your opponent throws you and does nothing else,
no, I mean,
it was like you that turn to win.
It was a real game. It's just like, in Green Broly, Deborah is going to be best in turns 1 and 2. Once you're like, I'm also citing 3 focus breakthroughs, like just for Deborah. Like if I think my opponent's going to side in Deborah, I'm siding in focus breakthrough because that just clears Deborah. And then
Isn't it question though? Isn't it almost better just to side in Quitsukai?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, maybe.
Because it's like if you just Quitsukai them, they're just locked. Like
Actually,
yeah, probably.
If you focus breakthrough it, they still tap the energy. Quitsukai will stop them from ever using that energy, and so you could kind of get them a little bit better. If you Koitsukai, you're not actually progressing the game state. They're just not going to play Deborah. But if you use Focus Breakthrough, you exchange a card for an energy, which might mean that you can win the game now. I don't know. But like you can look at the economy aspect of it versus them not using it that turn and then using it the next one. Focus Breakthrough gets rid of it for the entire time as well.
Mm.
Yeah, that's fair. I will also say I don't actually test Green Broly. I'm just gonna play it. Like I'm not actually gonna test it. So like I'm not sitting here thinking about what cards I should sideboard. But again, I have gotten tripled because like you said about Rosie, right? The difference in the Green Broly leader is I'm gonna swing with my leader. If you Deborah, like I'm still gonna discard 3 cards out of your hand that turn. So like, it's a good card. And then Deborah actually just gets swept up by Dormant. So it's like not even really an attacker.
It's a 3 cost.
It's a 3 cost? I thought it was a 2 cost.
He's a 3.
It's a 3 cost.
Never mind. I thought it was a 2 cost.
I read the
I'm
card.
all over the place this episode, dog. I'm all over the place, dude.
You won't pay 3 energy for it.
That's fine.
Dang it, man.
No, that's all good. No, you're right. My bad.
So we'll go to blue next, I guess.
Is there anything else to say about green before we move on? I don't think anybody was super prepared for green for tonight.
Go Tank sucks. Majin Vegeta sucks. Green sucks.
I actually have to get back to work real quick, but so the only thing I can really chime in on here for blue real quick is I've been on Vegito for a while, and that's what I've been playing. So the only thing I can see out of this new set is the Majin Buu Assault of the Agents of Destruction, like replacing the Blue Baby Unison, the 4 cost for this. That gives you a lot of deck utility to untap your energy to draw a card on your opponent's turn, to have a blocker and an attacker, and it's 20k. And then you can also bottom deck a battle card, which blue doesn't have a lot of for that as well.
Yeah, that card's busted, bro.
I agree. That card, especially in a deck like Baby, is going to make some waves.
Yeah. So sorry I didn't get to chime in too much, but I have to go clock in. So I'll try to stop in more often.
Gotcha, brother. Have a good one.
Later, Tim.
Who is that? I honestly don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Anyways, so blue doesn't like it. Like
We can just edit that out, right, guys? It's not live.
generic.
Who cares? Whatever. It's not an insult just because I've never met. Just because
I
I've
know.
never met someone is not an insult.
You kill me, man. I love it. I love every second of it.
But yeah, most of the cards that are like in blue for the next set are not too generic. Other than you can kind of splash that new Gohan the triple
Yeah.
striker. You can kind of splash it in the like decks that play blue vanillas.
So there's a Trunks that lets you play a blue sand from hand with its skills negated, so it becomes a skillless. So you combo the Trunks, play any 2-drop blue card, and then bounce it with that Gohan. I was testing that like as for a fun deck. It's funny you said Vegito because Vegito was like my baby in set 10, and I wish the deck was good. It's just not like amazing, but like
There's
yeah,
also
you can
a dual
do
attack
you can,
unison.
you can do all that stuff. Yeah,
There's the
there's a
dual
what?
attack, the dual attack Gogeta unison
Yeah,
that
yeah, it
has
plays at 2 costs.
one,
Yeah.
bounce 2, play your super combo with its skills negated.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure Frisco and Jose are playing that card in their skillless Janemba Soul Striker deck, whatever it is, because they already play a skillless card and all that good stuff. So I mean, it's a card. It's cool, man. It's like a dual attack triple striker or 40k or something like that. It's a big body that attacks twice and clears the board, right? So pretty good.
It does in fact hit them in the draw.
That Gohan is strong. It's generic enough to where there's ways to. But that is about it. Other than the two unisons we've discussed about from blue.
Oh, the
I'm more. Go ahead.
I wouldn't forget about the card Galactic Buster. I think that card's pretty absurd.
Oh yeah.
That card's pretty good.
Zero mana cards are pretty broken when they're blue, right?
Yeah, I mean that, and then you can just like, for instance, I know Frisco's posted about it before, but he does that with like Bojack the Evildoer, and so he'll just combo with that from his energy, and then when you play it, you just bottom deck one of your opponent's battle cards, and it's just like a 20k dual attacker, so it's just like high value. So you'll just charge that, you'll Galactic Buster, you'll do this, and then you just get to play this, and then you have your energy still readied, which is kind of absurd. So.
Bojack the Evildoer.
Yeah, Bojack the Evildoer, and combined with Galactic Buster.
Got you, dog.
I feel like it's still in that tough spot where it doesn't have like anything crazy going for it early for how quick the format is.
This card is good.
It doesn't do a lot anymore, and it's not like my favorite card. It does things, but it's not like insane. D Magic is a -1. It's good, but it's not that good. Mm-hmm. And then you got you don't have a turn stopper that's blue like Dormant or that's cheap enough. That is, you have Baby that has the turn stoppers, but they cost more. But so blue has got some struggles, but it is playable, especially at the local level. You obviously can about anything you want.
I think Baby's like one of the best decks immediately. Like Baby's not, it could be number one. Like it's very close. It's so hard. There's so many decks that just exist right now, and it's so hard to say that like it doesn't matter if Baby has a bad Invoker matchup. There's literally 2 Invoker players.
No, I'm saying it's number 1.
Oh, Sublett is saying Invoker's number 1. That is a reasonable opinion from Sublett. Baby is so good. Baby's amazing. Like the deck's broken, man. Every time I play that deck, I'm like, damn, this shit's broken. That's it.
Broken. Draw, charge, pass. Draw, charge, pass.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's exactly how I want to play the game. I can just sit there, brain dead, not have to think about anything. They're going to attack, I'm going to Gohan. Then I'm going to Revenge Big Bang attack. Then around turn 5, then only once I charge at a 5th energy, then do I have to actually play the game. That's it. And now I have a stupid unison that untaps it. It's still 3 energy, right? Because you always played Baby, Parasitic, whatever, the unison. You always play that on 4 anyway. You never played it on turn 3. So you're playing your unison the same turn, and you have the same amount of mana available. And then this unison, like Tim said, is a freaking double strike blocker that kills something once a turn that also draws a card and untaps an energy. So every turn after it's played, you get +1 energy. It's so freaking good, man. Like that card definitely put Baby over the top.
I feel like the one problem that Baby's going to have going forward is the fact that Mecha is going to be played more.
I don't think you're losing that matchup.
Counter Cooler is way too good. But
It's not. It's literally not. You play cards like you have too many negates for counter cooler to matter.
Tap Baby out.
You're not gonna tap him out. I have 5 energy. You're not gonna tap me out.
We're not getting to turn 5 in this case.
Absolutely, we are. We are absolutely getting to turn 5. Because you can't. Listen here. You cannot play 4-drops, right? You literally can't play 4-drops because I play a card called Sun Goten. Every time you try to play a 4-drop, I'm gonna bottom it. I'm just gonna bottom it. If you attempt to play Cell Xeno, I'm gonna Dirty Burst. If you cooler my Dirty Burst, I'm gonna Revenge Big Bang attack your Cell Xeno. Nothing's impossible. Yes, Mecha Frieza is going to win games off of Baby. The thing is that Baby has too many relevant options for that matchup to go. All you have is cooler, right? Even if you play 4 cooler, that's it. You play 4 cooler, you're gonna draw cooler. Good for you. Baby has too many cards that like I have a branching tree of options. You have one option, which is cooler. That's it. That's how I feel about it. You're gonna win. You're gonna take games. Cell Xeno cooler is broken. Yes, good job. 100%. But like realistically, I should just have more options than you, which will give me the advantage of that matchup. Also, if we get to turn 4, I slam Unison, and Cell Xeno never wins the game ever because the freaking Unison immediately kills Cell Xeno.
The thing is, though,
go ahead.
Cooler doesn't win you the game the turn it's played usually in that matchup. What Cooler does is it forces Baby to burn more resources than they wanted. So, for example, I play the Gohan, and you Cooler it. So now what you've done is Baby's minion. Man, what Gohan are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, okay.
I play the Gohan, you play the Cooler. What
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What do you think is where here? All right, so when you do that, you guarantee an attack through, which means Baby's probably taking the hit. You get rid of a Gohan, so your opponent discards a card while you draw a card. Okay, and you put another body on the board. Now, you're Mecha Frieza. You have the ability to use your life as a resource. So if you had tapped out for it, that doesn't actually hurt you very much. On top of that, you're against Baby, a really slow deck. So you're okay tapping out for a cooler. So you've coolered now. You've tapped 2 of your opponent's energy down with that. They have maybe 1 left, depending on who went first. What you do now, every attack you make forces your opponent to now D-Magic or Revenge Big Bang attack without you losing resources. And then play another Gohan, effectively removing a turn that you could stop. So now what that cooler has done, on top of drawing you a card and giving you another attack and guaranteeing an attack through, it has ruined your opponent's follow-up. And so the cooler might not win the turn it is played, but it absolutely removes the resource game that Baby is trying to play. And it hurts a lot. So it's not, you're not winning. You're not winning off the back of Cell Xeno Cooler. You're winning off the back of Cooler making Baby discard 3 cards. That in itself is enough to beat Baby.
That's not wrong, but you never play Gohan against cooler decks. Like when you play against aggro
attack.
No, when you play against aggro Sin, you just don't Gohan. It's too much energy because they will cooler it. That's like the thing I just said about it. All I have to do is get to turn 4, and you have no more win con whatsoever. Your entire game plan is just gone. You have no more win con.
If it's Mecha Frieza, dude, the win con is not Cell Xeno. The win con is just attack with something. Oh, it went through? Cool.
Nothing goes through.
So I mean, what about so post-board games, right? You know, if you're playing Mecha or a yellow deck, you'll end up playing some sort of hate card for Baby, right?
Yeah, you'll play the little silver bullet that's searchable with Planet Vegeta. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that's going to help, especially like let's say you lose the game, you lose game 1, right? You're on the play game 2. You be able to have that access on turn 1. Turn 2, you get to be aggressive, and then also it's like you do have outs to some other counter cards or counterplay cards or things like that as well. So I do think that it's like in the pre-board games, it's tougher, especially if Baby gets to go first. But it's like once we're post-board, we get to even things up a lot more. Like,
yes.
You have Annihilator too.
Yeah.
Mission Magic and Revenge Big Bang attack cost a lot more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more than just the extra energy. It also means that now
the thing is that it's the battle cards that matter in Mecha Frieza, right? Because I'm not playing shit. you're not going to get off any Battle Evolution Frieza in the early game. You are locked out of a 4-drop that is very good and very essential in the early game. If you want to combo, you'll never summon a Warcry because I will always have the counter for it. And yes, Baby does not always have the counter, but Baby has the counter. Like you play against Baby and you're like, damn, they have the counter every time. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. I'm not saying the matchup's unwinnable. I'm just saying I think that Baby is going to win it. That's what I'm saying.
I think Baby is favored, but I don't think it's as favored as you may have led on at the start of this conversation.
I didn't say that at all. I just said I don't think it's losing to Mecha Frieza. That's what I said.
No,
It's 100% favored, sir.
Giancarlo admitted 100% to being hyperbolic, though. Like
100%,
100% admitted to
110% to being hyperbolic.
What's up, buddy? Yeah, it's look, it's fine. Anyway, I think Baby is top 3, at least at the very start of the format. Absolutely top 3.
All right, that's a fun topic right there. So, what are the top 5 decks going into set 13?
Oh god, there's so many.
5 is a big number. Can we do 3?
5.
5.
Oh my god.
That's
top
5.
5 decks.
We got 5 colors.
Yeah, but
Five.
there's no green deck in the top 5, that's for sure.
All right. I like what Trey's saying. Let's do one of each color.
Oh, fair. Okay.
All right, so let's start with Chesco, then Matt, then me, then Trey. Let's go and see. All right, so red first. Chesco, red deck.
King Vegeta.
Matt.
Mecha, obviously.
No, red deck.
Red deck.
Oh, I have to do a red deck.
What's
do
the
it each
best
and
red
every.
deck?
I'm curious if we have a consensus on any of these. The best red deck.
Best red deck. I would have to say King Vegeta is the best red deck.
Okay. I'm gonna say King Piccolo.
Interesting. I mean, I do love King Piccolo.
I'm thinking that after it's all are we talking about just the start of the format? That makes a big difference.
Yeah, because people don't have PCs.
Let's say.
Yeah, because people don't have
second tournament. Second tournament in the format. How about that? Because the first one's always BS. So the second tournament in the format.
I guess King Vegeta would probably be the best due to the fact that people finally got promos.
Okay, all right. So we got 3 King Vegetas and a King Piccolo. Fair enough. All right. Best blue deck. Chesco. Pure blue. Pure blue.
Baby, 100%.
That.
Best mono blue deck.
Pure blue deck. It doesn't have to be mono blue, but it has to be a mono blue leader.
Oh, mono blue leader. I'm actually going to say go on from set 13.
Ooh, now that is a rogue pick there.
Ridiculous.
I'm gonna go with Baby, and I'm gonna have to be grounded in reality for that decision. I'm just kidding.
I feel like the most popular blue deck will still be
Baby. Playing 20Ks for 0 to no resources, awakening on turn 2, consistently every game, drawing a lot of cards. It's a recipe for a good time being a blue player. So it's I don't think it's exciting. I don't think it's an exciting deck or an exciting pick, but I just think it's a blue mid-range deck that gets there due to it's almost like the Dark Brawly effect, where it's always coming to get you, because it's always playing a 30K, whereas it's Gohan's always playing a 20K. It's always awakening on turn 2. It always has God Sealing. It's not pretty by any means, but it's just good old fashioned give him the beat downs a few times, close it out with a chomp on a leader swing, or a baby 5-drop to be a counter to get my swing in. It's not exciting, it's not pretty, but in a best of 3 format, it doesn't have any huge weaknesses.
Violent Rays.
Hey man,
I'm about to catch a violent race.
Here's the thing.
Wait. No. We don't need to argue it.
No, I'm not arguing. I was gonna give someone a compliment. I was gonna say I was on the Vegeta Saiyan Army YouTube channel the other day talking about King Vegeta, and I said in that video, I love being on a team with Matt Coombs because I just ask him for his list and he'll just send it to me. So Matt, go ahead and send me that Gohan list, please. And I'll go ahead and I'll test that out. You know what I mean?
All right, that sounds good.
Yellow. Let's go.
Mecca. Definitely Mecca.
Matt,
I'm biased. It's Mecha.
I think it's also Mecha. Trey, are you going to say Gohan?
So I will at least put a little input on this, other than just saying I enjoy it more. But the way that deck plays with Power of a Super Saiyan after just testing it is just it's impeccable. It's just once you see it in action, you'll be like, wow, that is kind of stupid. It in theory it works out the same way every time. And I even took out Goku Black, the 2-drop, out of the deck to make it more consistent to where it does the same exact thing every turn too. As long as your opponent actually is attacking. That's where this deck comes like favor against those other red decks that Mecha may have a little struggle against. And King Vegeta has a pretty good matchup against Mecha from what I understand. But
Oh yeah, definitely.
so Gohan will most likely crush that deck due to the fact that it just has so much resilience on the play on your opponent's
Hold on.
turn.
I need to ask. You're saying that Gohan Icarus will beat King Vegeta?
Yes, it's
Why?
just the way it plays. The way it plays, I'll just have to show you. It's better shown than just.
So hold on. Okay. Do any of your cards have barrier?
Yes.
Wait, which one?
Bojack.
Most important.
Okay, Bojack. Okay, Bojack, 20k single striker. Okay. What's the average power level of the attacking battle card? 19 to 20?
Yeah.
Okay, no, it doesn't beat. No, there's literally no way you would beat King Vegeta whatsoever.
I promise you. I just have to show you.
Okay.
We just need
Bergamo,
we need to settle this on Fortnite.
Bergamo Poutine and Power of a Super Saiyan in itself, that all happens.
I play one battle card. One battle card. One. That's it. All I need. One battle
Are you
card.
ever killing me? Okay.
I attack your life. I attack your leader. I attack your leader with King Vegeta. No, 5-drop Vegeta. You go ahead. I'll combo it. I'll pass my turn. That's it. None of your battle cards ever attack ever. That's it.
Okay, so anyway, then we have the best green deck.
OG Broly. OG Broly, baby. I love that deck, man.
Matt.
Say
King Gold.
I'm not. I'm actually gonna say. I'm actually gonna say the Green Android 13 leader.
Who?
What?
Hey,
wow, Green is in a bad spot, guys.
No, man. It's just I want to go into an event and I want to have a chance of winning an entire event with one deck, right? What green deck that if it opens the perfect 6 every single time just demolishes like a lot of decks?
Any green deck that Silk plays.
Fruit of the Tree of Might is decent. Speaking of which, Turles, doesn't he get that new promo that has so it's like so Turles is also like that is still a really good deck just because someone gave it a bad rap by cheating with it multiple times. Like
5 super combos is real good.
Does it like
that sucks. I don't know what the hell y'all are talking. Turles sucks, bro. It plays literally 20 cards that do absolutely nothing. They're like you have 10 cards in hand and every single one of them does nothing, and then you have 16 Champa in your deck, and that's it. Like that's
it. Man. Yo, Eddie will tell you. Eddie will tell you that gets you there, bro.
Like are you going Android 13 then?
Man. Yeah, no, I would say like if you get hot with Android 13, you almost feel unbeatable. Like
if you open Exodia every game, you definitely win. I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna say Turles because that promo is actually really good, and I think we're gonna see Turles.
That promo is dope. Yeah, that promo is pretty dope.
Deck. What about you, Trey?
I'm talking.
It's in between. If we're talking about best of 3, I think Reboot Gohan is still insane, but I'm biased because every local I see Reboot Gohan, every single one of them, and it like will just edge out most of those decks that are just like on the brink of being like.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Reboot Gohan. That deck's
Reboot
broken
Gohan is kind of just still, so.
That deck's broken as hell.
All right, we got one more color, black. Eddie, what do you think's the best black deck moving forward?
Hold on. For green deck, Coombs is right. It is Android 13. I'm not even trolling. Android 13, like the only thing I say that Coombs said is off. You just need 2 cards. You just need what's one of them? Like you just need to discard 1 and awaken, and you'll find the rest of your cards. Like yes, in the perfect world, the perfect 6 is 100% game over. But as long as you're able to discard just the 1 yellow Android 13 and then the 1 whatever it is, that deck just filters itself out, man. It's hard to really recover. I played the local guy. He got top 4. He lost one match. He finished 4th place with Android 13. That deck is nasty, dude. I was playing Dark World. I'm like, hot damn, like the deck is really, really, really good. Not to mention the fact that I don't want to put a strategy out there, but essentially imagine you having to debate whether to charge or not, and then to top that off, you can't. The first battle card you played is going to get popped because he's sitting on a Demigra on board with a Frieza Charismatic in hand. That's how that deck is really, really something. I guess there's a new black card that says essentially if you discard, you get to pay an energy and play it and pay 2 or draw 2 cards. So I don't know how that'll affect hand destruction decks. Yeah, I don't know how that'll affect hand destruction decks. But yeah, we tested the gauntlet. Like we went against Invoker, we went against everything that just draws the most cards ever in their hand. We played this against that deck, and 13, like I said, if you just draw 1 and it's Awaken, you'll filter through your cards. Now, if you draw more than 1, if you draw 2, or even if you draw 1 and you Awaken and you see another one, it's just game at that time and point because you're sitting there at 4. Not only that, like the new card I keep promoting to people, those new and not the Android 13, the new negates, like you'll never push you that deck because it's somehow you're able to summon a second battle card, it's just gonna get negated. And then now you have to deal with Rosie. That deck is nasty, dude. But yeah.
I can tell. I'll be honest, I can tell y'all just haven't played that much green. You all guys are wilder than a fish with titties. You said Demigra sucks. Android 13 is a vanilla leader that has Stoic Fist, which is a good card. There's literally no way to search any of the cards you just said.
There is.
Y'all are wilder than a fish with titties.
No, you're wilder than a fish with titties. There's your turn 1 play. It's literally, if you don't have it, you get a 1-drop. I think it's Jiro, whatever it is. You look at the top cards, like I'm not gonna say something. Like you'll be surprised. That deck is really. I slept on it too. He sat down against the table. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna blow you out. And then as the game progressed, it wasn't that easy for me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Here's the thing that you said though, is you said that you Turbo Awaken and you also play Demigra, right? Those two things just like conflict heavily. That's it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like because I've been playing a lot of Broly, right? When you want to Turbo Awaken, Demigra is the worst unison to play because they just attack it for free, and you can't use your life to defend it because you Turbo Awaken. Your leader is literally just a vanilla. It does absolutely nothing, and you have to draw cards that you cannot search. It's not a real deck. It's the same exact deck as Set 1 Broly. All of these issues exist in 13, also exist in Set 1 Broly. Hand destruction as a mechanic is very broken in this game. So I'm not surprised that a hand destruction deck does well. It's just a worse version of Set 1 Broly in like every way. That's it.
I have to agree with Chesko on the Demigra observation there.
There's one thing.
I vehemently disagree on the stance on Demigra. It's your best card in either deck.
There's one thing you guys are forgetting about Android 13. Android 13 Awakens at 6. Number 1, the Stoic Fist, you can choose up to 1 card from. You can choose up to 2 cards. You can choose 0. You can choose, but no matter what, your opponent's gonna discard 1 and you're gonna draw 1. So it's completely up to you. What I do, like when I play the deck, I went to 5. The reason why I went to 5 is because when you do try to target my Demigra Unison, you have the free negate. That says if you're at 5 or less, hey, I'm negating this. Somehow you play more than 1 battle card. That's fine. You're not gonna have cards in hand. By the time it's my turn 3, it's game over. You're not gonna have cards in hand.
No,
anyway, I was trying to say about the Demigra thing before 4 of you started talking. Look, the thing about the Demigra Unison is like what Chesko said. When you rush to 4 life, if your Demigra Unison has 2 markers on it, a leader swing on the Demigra Unison says I either deal a damage and put you at 3, or you lose a marker, you can't freeze him anymore. That actually does matter when you start going a little further into the game. Now, I understand that Android 13 can turn 1, discard your opponent's entire hand. Again, Exodia, obliterate. We get that. But for the matches that aren't as Exodia obliterating, there does come a problem. Now, Android 13 does have the advantage of Turbo Awakening to 6 life instead of 4. And so Demigra is better in Android 13 than it is in OG Broly. And I think that's something you're not considering here, Chesko.
No, you're going to be at 4. That's how this game works. You're going to be at 4.
So here's the thing, right? You talked about how your leader in Broly is vanilla on the front side, right? You can't just build your deck where you're all in on I'm always going to have my field spell on turn 1.
Oh, you absolutely do build your deck that
You can't
way.
build your deck that way. No.
That's exactly how I built it.
So here's the thing.
You draw 6 cards and you throw 6 cards back. That's it. Here's the thing about the Migra, right?
I like
Go
to
ahead.
play games of Dragon Ball Super. Like I like to have a shot at playing the game. Whereas, so if I open a Demigra at least, like, so if I just play 4 Demigras in my deck, I play 4, like, how many field spells, how many cards to get to field spell, I now have so many more playable opening hands. As opposed,
but consider Brilliant Fusion is a good card if you play 1 Garnet and you just don't draw it. You're unfortunately arguing with the wall on this one when it comes to this. No, you're right. You're right.
Everything you're saying is fine. Everything you're saying is not wrong. The reality is you're in the same boat with Demigra. You play 4 Demigra, you have no way to search it. You play less Demigra, then you play less. You can just play a 1-drop. You play Kakunsa 1-drop, you play Reverian 1-drop, you play whatever 1-drop you want. That's fine. The reality is that Demigra is just a worse unison. That's it.
It's a 1-drop deflect barrier 15k attacker that allows me to take a life as a resource.
The Demigra's probably the best unison in the game, bro.
It's a 15k vanilla that does nothing. That's it, bro.
The Demigra's the best unison in the game.
Deck's attack, dog. You understand that Deck's attack, right? You're just at 4 life on the nature of the game. You go to turn 2 and you're at 4 life, and then Demigra, and then it's even worse in both of these decks because you take a lot of your own life. And then Android 13 is a worse leader because I say that Green Broly should be a vanilla on the front side, right? But Android 13 is actually a vanilla that does literally nothing on both sides, and then Green Broly's a +3 on swing.
So counterpoint to the Demigra in Broly, if you don't open your field spell, which is where you're saying Demigra really shines, you're not winning that game, man. If you can't get your field spell out there as early as possible,
that'd be super hard to believe that he doesn't open up his field spell.
It's not going to save you.
But then you have 4 field spells. You also have the SS3 Broly. I'm guessing you're playing at least 3 or 4.
You play 7. You play 7. You play 7.
That's hard for us to not have your field spell, dude. That's really hard for us.
You gotta play 8. You can't play 7.
Yeah, that's what I said too. Like, I think you play 8. You have to see it. Like, literally, if you don't see it, you do see it.
You draw 6. Like, right, here's the thing, right? You draw 6, and then you draw 6 more, and then you draw 1 from your 1-drop, and you draw 1 from your turn if you're going second. It's like 14 cards. You're gonna see it. That's it. You're just gonna see it.
I wish.
So actually, if you're
same.
Look. If you're going first, you don't need to see it turn 1. It doesn't matter turn 1.
Yeah.
You need to see it by turn 2. If you are going second, then you need to see it turn 1. But the thing about the field spell is, if you really wanted to max out on copies of the field spell, you wouldn't max out on copies of the field spell. You'd play the 1-drop Broly that searches the ISR. There are better things to do than max out on a card that does nothing after it's on the board. You max out on a Broly that then searches for the Broly that then gets the field spell. Because then it also has...
In other card games, I would 100% agree. But in the Dragon Ball Super card game, if your deck is not doing its thing as early as possible, your deck is a worse version of every other competitive deck.
No one said Green Broly was a good deck.
Except for Giancarlo.
I'm serious.
No. I said it's the best green deck.
It's
the best green deck is still the best green deck. Still a tier 2 deck, guys.
No. It's just that Green Broly, you have to build it a certain way. You can't play 4 ISR and 4 field spell and 4 Demigra all at the same time, because that is 12 cards you can't do anything with. I can't combo with that field spell. I can't combo with that Demigra, and I can't combo with that ISR. Because everything in my deck costs 1 mana.
So basically,
seriously, Green Broly is.
What we're saying is, don't play Green Broly.
No, I'm playing it, dog. I'm playing it.
But I'm serious. When you actually sit down and play the deck and you use the ratios, you find out that 8 field spells is too many, because you lose more games to the fact that you're playing that many than you do to the fact that you don't see it turn 1. And
if you don't see it turn 1, you lose.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. You lose more games. Instead of auto losing a game, you actually lose more games by not auto losing. Look at the statistics. So you have, I think it's like a 65. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but a 65% chance to see it in your opening hand. You shuffle them all back. You try again. You get two 60%. You're over 50 twice. You have a very good chance of seeing it, statistically speaking, compared to something
right
like
now, I guarantee I'll win at least one of those.
In Tournament of Power Arena. You have a chance of actually seeing it. You have to take the risk of cutting one of the field spells so that when you get past turn 1, you actually can still win the game. Like if I stick my field spell, but you attack me and I have 7 1-mana 10Ks and/or spells in my hand and/or unisons in my hand, the field spell didn't save me. It didn't win me the game. It just stopped me from losing immediately.
Were you guys
So
up
what
to
you're
date
saying-
on the comment section?
Yeah, I
On the
see
side.
13 C's more cards, turn 0 than Broly. That's where I'm at on the chat.
Means nothing. That means nothing.
That's fair.
No, so
I get-
so what you're saying is your main deck configuration is you play 7 copies, right? And then you have your 8th copy in the board for when you're on the play,
No.
because you're not going to see
No,
the extra card.
No, you just play 7. If you don't
Okay,
get
well,
it, you
well
don't.
then the deck's just unplayable.
Look, you went to an event.
Still play it.
You wrote Broly on a deck list. Okay.
You know what you're signing up for.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be prepared to lose minimum 3 games to the deck itself when you enter into a tournament.
Hell no.
That's it.
Hell no.
That's it.
That's 3
That's
aces.
it.
What the
No,
hell?
because here's the thing. Though. Also, when I'm playing it in PPG Miami, it's like a 1K, right? I don't care about a 1K. Like that's how it goes. If I was going to nationals, would I play this deck? No. Do I care about winning $300? No. Like it's not a big deal. That's it. I'm playing at a 1K. If I top 8, cool. If I don't, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. This is what I'm saying. Like Trey's right. The best green deck is definitely Reboot Gohan. I forget that deck's green because like I just forget it's green. But anyway,
best black.
Best black deck.
Oh,
look.
We can just end that statement if you sign up.
You cut out. What'd you say, bud?
I was just gonna say, if you sign up with Green Broly, you get what you pay for, and you knew it the moment
Absolutely.
you signed up with it.
100%. I agree. I'll take my L's. That's it. I'll take them.
Eddie, can we all agree on the best black deck? Let's go ahead and agree.
I don't think we can agree.
I'm actually curious to see Android 13 going against Reboot Gohan. I'm not gonna lie, because yes, you're super aggro, but what do you do without a hand? And the thing about it, you're laughing, but you're really forgetting about those green negates, dude, with the blockers. I'm actually interested.
Not laughing at that, man.
We're not laughing. Every deck has that card. It's actually worse in green. Let me explain. No, let me. Homicidal Clone. No. 1 minute. Homicidal Clone is worse. No. It is worse. Listen to me. Hold on, just 1 second. Those cards are amazing, but they are absolutely the worst in green because you dormant the first attack, right? You play dormant, then you play homicidal clones, then you get a blocker that literally does nothing for the rest of the turn, and then all you have is like a little 5K that does nothing. Homicidal clones is worse in green than the same card in every other color. Moving on from green, best black deck. I don't know. Go on. What's the best black deck?
I think Vegex is the best black deck.
Hey, I don't know about that.
Yeah. We were laughing, Eddie, because we were trying to change the subject right back on it, which is why we thought it was funny. What is the best black deck? We got Vegex. What do you think, Eddie? Moving into set 13.
Why do you think Vegex? Because they Gogeta?
Just what do you think? We're each giving our opinion.
Yeah,
what
it's
do you
100% Dark Broly, dude. Like, hands down, nothing changed.
Chesco, what do you think?
Let me go last. I gotta think. I don't know.
That's weird. Okay, Matt, what do you think?
Mecha Frieza. I'm kidding. No.
I mean, Android 13, right?
Yeah, Android 13 is the best black deck, hands down. But if I had to, if black decks, man, it's so tough because like it just
pass for now too.
it's like because Vegex is good because it's like, you know, it's hate bears, right? You have Dark Power Black Saiyan, you get True Fighting Spirit, like you get to be like an aggressive deck that does those things.
Anti-meta stun deck.
Yeah, like you are. But the thing is like, as Eddie's proven time and time again, like Dark Broly's just a good deck that just does good things, and it's hard to sleep on a deck like that. I think early in a format, I think Vegex ends up being better suited, but once you're like in the like the grindy weeks, then like Dark Broly probably ends up being the best overall black deck. Like once you're in that like more, trying to take advantage of being like you want to beat the aggro decks, then I think you end up switching to something like Dark Broly. But it's tough. The black decks are so close.
You guys are just forgetting about Makekabura. Like that's a real deck.
I think that was good.
Mecha outs the other black decks, but it's not the best. The way I explained the black decks is literally. I'll let Sublett go because he didn't give his answer yet, though.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that the best black deck is probably Vigex, and I think that is based on the fact that in the second tournament, Vigex is going to have the best spread of the black decks because you're main decking literally all of your hatred. Every single card that hates on any deck in the game, it's right there. Do you need a Black Mass saying, I play 4 of it? Do you need a Goku striving or whatever his name is? Oh, there's 4 of that. And I got 4 of the Vegeta too. Like your bases are covered just by playing Vigex, and you have a 0 mana draw a card, summon 4 things in the form of your leader's effect. I think that ultimately Vigex is going to be the best of the black decks just because of its spread. It's not the ceiling. I'm not a player who cares about the ceiling of a deck. I prefer to look at the consistency of the deck and just like the results that decks get as a consistency. And I think Vigex has just shown us time and again that it is the one that's going to be consistent. Whether it wins or not, whether it hits that ceiling that we keep talking about today or not, it's going to do its thing. It's going to always do its thing. And because it can do that thing and play a floodgate at the same time, I think that Vigex is the winner there.
Okay, so
yeah, those are all great points.
One reason why Vigex is a better black deck, like no matter what you go, no matter if you're going first, second, you're always doing what you're leading.
You're super lagging, Mike. I don't know if it's just me.
Exactly
Hold on, Trey. Yeah, hold on.
You're
Take a
super
second.
lagging.
Because you're lagging out, yeah.
Alright, but basically what I'm saying is Vigex is basically the most consistent, like, Dragon Ball deck that doesn't even play like a normal Dragon Ball. Like, it's like, if Vigex was a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, it would be the best Yu-Gi-Oh because, like, it just
It's
draws
burning a
cards,
bit.
going first or second, you get free advantage for just playing the leader. You can't even deck out as a black deck which wants to, like, flip its deck over.
Yeah.
It's just all around a very versatile aggro mid range. It can do almost everything you can think of in the format in one deck.
You said something that's super counterintuitive. Vigex is not more. You said it's the most consistent black deck. It's not more consistent Dark Broly. Vigex, the best way I can explain because I played both decks. Yeah, I played both decks. I played a lot of black. That's all I do is take black decks in major tournaments, right? The issue I have with Vigex is Vigex it's fire. It's like you guys said. It has main deck hate to all decks. But the thing about Vigex, it has like literally it'll run into walls. Such walls is like it's trolled. Invoker is one of those walls I'm talking about. Anything that has blue in its deck, like Blue Baby, Invoker, all those stuff that you see at tournaments, it's like, okay, cool. You just hope not to run into them. You run into walls. Another thing too is with the with yellow, you now have to. I mean, yeah, people are gonna pick up their Quetzal again, but you gotta look at it from the actual aspect of it. When you're preparing for a tournament and you're sitting down looking at your 50 cards, I'll guarantee to you, if you're playing red, you're saying, okay, cool, I'm playing Violent Rage for Dark Broly. You're not going to say, I'm playing this for Vigex. You see what I'm saying? You don't prepare your deck to go against Vigex. Because, like, if Vigex is there, you deal with it. For Dark Broly, you can't say, okay, cool, I'm just going to go into... Yeah, you see Topo? That's something Vigex can't out. Yes, you can Koetsukai Topo, but you can't just... I'm going to give you 2 cards. I'm going to give you 2 cards. If I'm Dark Broly, you Topo me, I'm like, swing, pitch 2, okay, swing again, pitch another 2. Like, Vigex has... It runs into problems. Yes, you're correct. It does have a lot of Koetsukais, Vulture Fighting Spirits, Dark Power, Black Man, same, but I'm telling you, the amount of stuff you can do at Dark Broly is just ridiculous. But when you guys see the next build of Dark Broly, it's going to be completely different. And it's going to be something that's going to be like, wow, why the hell didn't we just think about it? It's the deck you have to worry about. And the thing about Vigex, right, you have a lot of silver bullets, but your best of 3, like, your sideboard is only so much you can do. Like, okay, cool, you're not going against blue. What do? You take out your Vegetas. What do you put in for the Vegetas? You're already gonna have the Quetzalcoatls in the main board because if you don't, there's no way.
Take out BMS for Vegeta.
Yeah, but there's no way you're gonna beat Mecha Frieza if you take out if you don't have Quetzalcoatls because you're not gonna.
Hold on. Solo wants to say something.
Just 2 quick points on that argument, man. The first one is not that people don't side deck cards for Vegex because they don't respect it. Vegex keeps winning and topping. People respect the fact Vegex exists. It's Dark Broly is actually just that easy to side for. It turns out that cards like Violent Rays are just good cards in general, and if they shut down the entire deck, that doesn't make Dark Broly a force to be reckoned with, and we're side decking it for Dark Broly. It actually kind of makes Dark Broly worse because it gets shut down by a single card. Whereas Vegex, you have to side several cards for different scenarios. Vegex being harder to side for actually kind of makes it a better deck, not a worse deck. People absolutely respect the fact that Vegex exists. So I don't think that it's a fair point to argue that you play Violent Rays for Dark Broly, but there's nothing you play for Vegex because you don't care about Vegex. Also, Dark Broly hits those same walls like Blue. Blue is the same wall that Vegex hits. Like Invoker is a wall that either of those decks come up against. You can't just say that it's for that deck in general. And same thing with Baby. Like if you play 2 or less of the 5-drop Demigra, Baby is gonna wreck you.
I play zero Demigra, and who's the best Blue Baby player in the world that you guys would say?
Mike.
Ask him what happened when I played him with 0 Demigra and a best of 3.
Let's ask you what. Let's ask what you what. You 2-0'd it.
2-0.
Interesting.
The thing is, Vegex can't do that. Vegex literally cannot do that. If I'm Vegex, he does a floodgate. Like, it's okay, cool. I draw Quetzalcoatl. He could play around the Quetzalcoatl and just say, hey, I'm just going to use my extra cards. If I have the Goku True Fighting Spirits, that's something he can't play around. Maybe he could just drop the battle card and say, I'm going to play around that. Dark Broly doesn't... The best way I can describe it, against other black decks, yes, maybe it's not the best black deck, but when you look at the spread, like red, blue, yellow, green, Dark Broly doesn't run into those walls that other, especially blue, like specifically blue is the issue with black. Dark Broly doesn't run into the same issues that Vegex runs into, and that's from experience why it's hard for me to go back. And like the whole thing with Sync Shinron, you have to play like your favorite card, Demigra, or you have to play other cards that you normally wouldn't play, like the SS. If you don't want to play Demigra, you have to now play the SS3, the Bardock that warps things because Vegex doesn't have that removal. Yes, you say Gogeta's a thing, but Gogeta you have to swing. Against Sync Shinron, you can't swing because if you swing, it's already negated. Like it's an auto. You see what I'm saying? That happens when it attacks.
So look, the main difference is like Vegex and Dark Broly operate so similarly.
Yeah.
Dark Broly has access to a lot of the same cards Vegex has. The difference is that Vegex is better at using them. Like Dark Broly cannot mill Koitsukai. Vegex can mill it and it can discard it with its Unison. One Drop Goku and BMS are just better in Vegex than they were ever. They're just better in Vegex than they are in Dark Broly.
You know,
go ahead.
I think a good. So first of all, I think that Power Thirst Black Mass Saiyan is the best black deck. So,
oh my god!
But anyway, no. But
how did Dark Broly lose in top 16 to that BMS deck? That blew my mind.
So let me. So my point real quick of why I think that Vegex actually picks up a percentage point over Broly in this conversation is the Unison being a finisher on the Awakened side. Like I think that's like if it's one of those things where it's like it's so subtle. Like you might just miss it, but it's probably one of the most impactful things is just like having a Unison that ends up being a win con just for your leader activating its skill. It's pretty absurd in any format.
That's a serious card.
Yeah.
Yes. So like Dark Broly should beat Vegex. Like that's a fact. Like if you're a Dark Broly player, you should be beating Vegex players. The thing is that Dark for me, like. So I had the exact opposite switch of Eddie. So like Eddie went from Vegex to Dark Broly. I went from Dark Broly to Vegex. So Dark Broly when it came out was like a mid-range hand control deck, and then now it's switched to an aggro deck. When Vegex was first out, it was like an aggro deck. Now it's a mid-rangey. I wouldn't call it hand control, but it's a mid-rangey mid-rangey value resource deck. So like I switched to Regex because I like to play my games more based on value. Like Demigra is just better in Regex. If I mill 5 with Regex and I miss all 5, I don't even care because I'm just gonna Demigra next turn. Like I don't even care if I miss with Regex. If I +2, that's good, but if I don't, it doesn't matter. Whereas Dark Broly, like the mill is much more inconsistent. So the question isn't like which deck beats what. It's how do both decks function in the field. The reality is they function the exact same way. If your deck beats Dark Broly, your deck is gonna beat Vegex and vice versa. Like that's just how the game is right now.
I think the biggest issue that players also aren't seeing is a lot of players when they go against Vegex still don't know what tax to take. They just take it and go to 4. So like in hindsight, when you see the deck, you're like, oh, Vegex is instantly better because starting past turn 1, they're already at 4 life. Whereas Dark Broly, it's like what people said, if you have a violent race turn 1, you're not going to be at 4 life. You're going to be at 8 life still. You slowly have to work them down. But if you understand that, like, if you're going against Vegex and like you know what color you are, there's cards that literally stop that.
I'm not gonna argue about how to play around bad. Like it doesn't matter what bad players do because they're bad. So like you want to talk about the decks how they exist in the higher level competitive format. So like if you're playing against a bad player who just does whatever with Vegex, yeah, they're gonna lose. Good for them. But who cares about that?
I'm not even talking about bad players. I'm talking about in like.
You said people don't know how to play against Vegex.
All right, so it could be a good on good play. It doesn't matter what it is. Like it could be two of the best players happening. There's sometimes you have to take that damage, and then you start playing the game at 4 life. Whereas Dark Broly doesn't have that. It doesn't have that luxury to do that. Where okay, cool, we'll slowly work you down. But the thing about slowly working it down, you give them less options because let's say for instance, if you're playing, well, not you're playing Green Broly, but if Sublett is playing Invoker or Coombs is playing Mecha and he goes to 4 life instantly, he now has a book in his hand to answer you. And I'm telling you right now, if you do not see Koetsukai, you will lose that matchup against Mecha Frieza. You're not going to push through it. And that's the floodgates what I hate. Another thing, too, is the thing with King Vegeta. Like, the only battle card you're really sticking with King Vegeta is your Overrealms. Like, that's it. What else are you sticking with King Vegeta? Because all those free things you're playing, and your Unison, obviously, all the free things you're playing, it's like, oh.
No, you don't even stick your Overrealm. The thing that wins the King Vegeta matchup is 2 cards. Yes, it's Demigra. Demigra will not die against King Vegeta. It's a 30k. They have to waste way too many resources to kill it. And then the second card is the King Vegeta that has Barrier. They don't have anything that can kill it. They don't have anything that can interact with it that kills it. They can bang it, and that's it. It's still a negative from their hand. They cannot kill that Vegeta. You should win. You should be beating. Like I'm not saying you should be, but like King Vegeta is like a linear deck that plays 1 battle card. It's gonna go into the EX Evolve Vegeta, and then you just kill it with the Demigra or King Vegeta or Gogeta. Who cares? The thing is that your Overrounds aren't going to stick because they're just going to Yamcha you're fighting against Fate, and then it's dead. Like, I understand why, like, Aggro Vegex loses to Red Vegeta. I agree. But, like, mid-range Vegex has a much better matchup against King Vegeta. And Dark Broly destroys King Vegeta. That's not even an argument.
Exactly my point.
Violent Rage does nothing. But King Vegeta's just not that good.
Yeah.
You're off of Vegex because you think it loses to King Vegeta, when really you just have to adapt to the meta. Because, like, obviously fighting against Fate is not good against King Vegeta. They're gonna Yamcha it, and then their leader's gonna kill it. Or they're gonna Yamcha it, and their Vegeta's gonna kill it. And then Yamcha, and you're like, one Yamcha, your entire board is dead. Okay? I understand why like those cards are bad. But again, if they play that freaking Vegeta and you Demigra, the Demigra probably doesn't die, and even if it dies, they have to use a ton of resources to kill it. Like that's just how it is. Or you play King Vegeta, you warp their Vegeta, and then it has Barrier and they can't interact with it. So you just adapt your Vegex deck to the meta. Like it's that simple. Dark Broly does destroy King Vegeta, but King Vegeta is just not that good. It's as good as every other. It's as good as every other tier 1 deck. Like it's not like this tier 0 deck that's going to control the format. It has a good Mecha matchup. It has a good Vegex matchup, and it has its own bad matchups. Like it's as good as every other tier 1 deck.
All right. The best thing I can say for the Vegex versus Dark Broly matchup is it'll require less brain power playing Dark Broly than it does Vegex versus the meta itself. Because I'm telling you, there's certain situations where you actually have to say, shit, how do I get to this spot without dying? Whereas Dark Broly, it's not that. If you get locked, it's like, okay, cool. I tell you all the time, you can't Dark Broly doesn't sit there and inherently. The only deck that used to do me like that was Invoker before I learned how to play around it. But the only deck you'll sit there and just be like, damn, this is actually a match. It's literally a mirror match because everything else slows you down. It doesn't just say you're not playing. It just slows you down. And once you can't slow me down no more, that's when you start getting boom, 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 and 30k slings just start coming at you, which is insane. So that's the best I can say.
You missed the very first segment where Sublett literally discusses how your deck, like how Dark Broly has no play against Invoker next format. So that's a whole.
I mean, you have the unison, but then that's cute. I'm guessing it's just
I
the
mean,
unison.
it's cute enough for you not to be able to attack.
No, it's
right.
not. That's what I'm trying to say. That's because you guys are looking at the past builds. Like Miami will reveal. It's all I'll say. Like you have the unison. A player like me that knows I played Legends every single the past 4 events. I'm gonna play them again. I know everything Invoker has. Unfortunately for all Invoker players, but I know everything. Every little trick that Invokers can do. I understand that.
Oh, I'm shaking in my little booties.
Trust.
Anyway, whatever. The reality is, like, I don't even know which black deck's better. It doesn't matter. You guys are all forgetting about Makekabura. That deck's amazing.
It's powerful. The hand size they can amass too is insane.
Yeah, Makekabura is really good.
I think that the point of this was lost a long time ago. It was just for us each to give our opinions, not necessarily to convert other people to think the same way.
Well, I think so. This a great way to rally around that is I think everyone has we all have a similar opinion of what we think the best versions of decks are. Is that they have to be things that they're either just grossly powerful or they just naturally do things that are grossly powerful. It's because Dark Broly and Vegex have this thing where it's they're both decks that just do the thing for free. They're just doing the thing for free, and it just depends on okay, well, which one do you think is more powerful in what context? So I think Vegex and Dark Broly are obviously the best 2 picks because they both do that. But the overall consensus of this conversation is we all lean towards something that's either really powerful or just naturally consistently is really powerful. And I think that's just what you have to keep in mind when you're trying to select your decks in general or figure out what the best decks are and kind of stop you from testing those things that are below that. The things that are obviously below that level, it's really just a time sink that you spend testing those things. So I think it's a good conversation to have.
Absolutely.
In here is the AOD leader, but it's just a little worse than the other ones. It's pretty solid in what it does, and that new
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, so what? I just want to comment on what Matt just said real quick while it's fresh in everyone's mind.
I already forgot.
Yeah, it's all about your play style, right? You're either about that you're a ceiling player or you're a consistency player, and that's going to define whether you like Dark Broly or whether you like Vegex. And beyond that, it's going to define what decks you like to play and how you like to do in tournaments. And so it's just important to understand that before you ever even start testing. Like Matt said, you need to know. And there are decks that ultimately every meta deck is unfair, because that's just what makes it good, is that it's unfair. Every deck cannot be fair, because if it was fair, then everything is also unfair, right? But in this game, it's not the same way. Only the unfair decks go into that tier 1 category. Everything that is fair is tier 2 or below. And so it just comes down to which deck does the most unfair thing the way you like it best, right? Red Broly is the ceiling deck. How unfair is it? I don't know. Turn 2, 5 different critical double strikes seem unfair enough on a ceiling? Yeah, it is. Is it going to do that often? Not really. But that's the ceiling. And if you like playing for that crazy combo ceiling, then that's your deck. If you like playing for things that are consistent without that ceiling, something like Mecha Frieza, for example. Mecha Frieza is a deck that does the same thing every game, turn after turn, game after game. It's a consistency. Does it do anything fair? Absolutely not. Please, have you read Bergamo? It doesn't do anything fair. But the point is, it's consistent. And if you like being able to, and we've seen this in these arguments tonight, if you want your deck to do the same thing and to play every game, if you want to sit down and play every game of Dragon Ball, Mecha Frieza is the call, not Red Broly. And so these are just the things that that are important to understand about yourself as a player. And also, it's important to understand that you and your friends are going to disagree. Like Chesko and Eddie just argued for a good 2 days. Was it 3, 6? I don't know how long we were here, but it felt like a long time about Vegex versus Dark Broly, and ultimately it just came down to Chesko likes that consistency and Eddie likes that ceiling, and they're not going to convince each other of the things, and so it's okay in your friend groups to disagree, and it's okay that you're not all going to think the same way. It's more important for you to understand yourself, your play style, what you like, and what decks fit that role so that you can do well in tournaments. That is ultimately what it comes out to be. And on that note, doing well in a tournament is also self-defined. Some people are happy getting top cut. Chesko mentioned earlier, if I got top 8 in this 1K, cool. That's his self-defined doing well in a tournament. Some people are like, if I don't get first place, I'm last. Those are the Ricky Bobby people.
That's me. I ain't gonna lie, that's me. You guys never see me at an event. I get so pissed, dude. I legit tell you. I don't go to sleep. I get pissed, dude.
That is the thing, yes. And so, how well you're going to do in a tournament, that's also user defined. And ultimately it just comes down to just play for yourself. Don't play for what other people tell you to do. Don't pick Dark Broly because Eddie says it. Don't pick Vegex because Chesko says it. Pick what you want to pick and do well for yourself in the game. That's what it comes down to. Just understand yourself, play for yourself, and you'll have fun playing this game, and you will enjoy it.
Beautifully said. I agree with that. That was great. Right, good job.
That sounded like a closing segment for like a TV
that
show.
That sounded like a closing statement.
For like a TV show. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's like, tune in next time on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z or something like that. Like, that was an epic conclusion.
You hear the Scrubs music when he turns his head to the side and he gets that wrapping up noise.
That's what it was.
That's what that was.
We were playing T-ball, man. I teed it up real nice.
You did. You set it up and
you got it, bro.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Set 13 does look wild, though. Like, taking what we have now, injecting just some new cards that can like affect the older strategies, and then you have a couple of new things that are there to shine. I think it'll be a good time because I know that this format's been a lot of fun to play in, like Battle Evolution, Series 11 format. All those, Series 11, 12 have been just a ton of fun.
11, 12, same thing at this point, man. They're all bleeding together. It's not too long.
We kind of left it off of this chat, but we can just save it for the next team talk. Let's talk about the next swap deck. Talk about how that's going to go into format. Sneak peek. Everybody's going to be excited to get those promos.
Real quick, what's the last comment?
They that deck, dog.
Real quick, what's the last comment you guys got to on this?
Because
there's a lot.
We've been ignoring them completely. They're not saying anything important.
Man, all right. Let me hurry up and glance through it real quick. Yo, cracking space time. Let's see. Is this the recent one? King Piccolo is gonna be fine. Oh, someone's talking smack about King Piccolo. I see. They say King Piccolo is gonna be fine. Then you drop a little out. Okay, degenerate. They're coming. That's interesting. Blue and yellow are 10K. This looks like it's old. Hold on, let me see real quick.
He never takes.
Giancarlo is the MVP.
Me and Matt, we like to theory play Dragon Ball more than we actually really play Dragon.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like the same way.
This is true.
Yeah.
I like to write PhD dissertations on Dragon Ball.
I don't usually play test until I'm playing in turn, and that is my play testing.
Yeah, I didn't really play test at all for gamers. I just had a theory, and then Giancarlo play a lot of games with this 13 list, and then I was like, all right, seems like it works.
Oh yeah, that shit worked hella good. That's the thing, bro. That's me and Matt, we got a beautiful relationship in our future. He gives me a deck, I'll play test it, I'll give him a little bit of feedback, and he'll fucking win a tournament with it. It'll be all right. Okay, how did Dark Broly lose to Black Man Sand? Did you guys see that game?
I don't think you.
What the hell is going on here?
That's a Friday.
Hey, I
He's been
watched
here
his stream.
2
I
hours.
don't think he
Enough
was
is enough.
yeah.
All right, I'm just curious. No offense to the Black Mass Saiyan player. He did great, and then it's literally just worse for Gex. Like it's crazy to me. You imagine. Here's the thing about Gex, right? And I'm not anyway. Imagine a deck that's so broken they ban it 4 times. Okay, and now imagine you change the leader to an objectively worse leader, and it can still make top 4 in an event. Imagine a deck that's that broken.
Well, I think so. It was leaning into the fact that it was like an untapped 2 liter, and then it was also playing the 4 copies of the Gogeta 6, the one that's like the blocker that blows up something with barrier. And so it was able with its leader skill to kind of just recycle things at will, like whatever it needed. So it was like this weird toolbox thing. So it like always had an overrealm or always had like, so it just always was able to generate some sort of advantage or like always get a Demigra back. Oh, never mind. Does it stand or just mono black card?
I think it's just black card. But I will tell you, if you can't afford the SS4 Overrealm, the Son Goku, I think like whatever long odds, whatever it's called that grabs the card from Warp, use that guy. If you can't afford him, use the Black Man Saiyan leader because the leader does the same thing
This
essentially.
card's super mediocre.
Yeah.
You literally just don't even need. This card's not that good. It's very mediocre.
Hot damn, this guy snapped. But yeah, if you don't have access to those cards, the Black Man Saiyan leader will do it for you. So have fun with that.
No, you should never play that leader. It only mills 3, and you're playing Vegex cards. And if you're not milling enough, your deck is just worse. You draw like dead card after dead card. That's it. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, let's go. All right, good night, guys. Are we leaving? What's going on?
Hit them closing comments, boys. What you guys got?
That's it. I think I've talked enough today.
I think Sublett hit that closing comment on the point.
Yeah.
When he hit that. Giancarlo have nothing?
I'm good. Hey, I enjoy these a lot. I hope you guys enjoy them too. I kind of view this as just hanging out. You know what I'm saying? I've been having a lot of fun with these team talks. I know I talk a lot. I talk a lot of shit. But like I genuinely enjoy doing these team talks. So I really hope that you guys too. Someone doesn't like them. Whatever, man. No one cares.
No. I'm saying you talk a lot. Nah.
Well, what I will say is because I was having a conversation with Richard Zapp and he brought this up, right? Because I took such a long break from playing the game competitively, and the reason why I wanted to be a part of this team and the reason why we wanted Giancarlo and Sublett, I got super excited about you guys coming on the team was it's like
damn,
it's a combination of like getting to discuss theory and deck ideas, and then also like having like I've never had like a group of people around me that were like hyper competitive. Like usually people have just been really similar to me, so it's like it's just pushed me further like to kind of have that competitive edge again. So it's like it's just been a really cool experience so far. Like definitely been the best team I've been a part of so far in that respect.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Cool.
Yeah, I will say that Sublett likes to put it how it is. If it's bad, it's bad.
Truth.
Would you say Sublett is a nicer version of me? Because if it's bad, I tell you straight up. Like without trying to warm me up or nothing, I'm like, or I just won't respond to it. I'm like, yeah, just let me not say what I gotta say.
Robbie will tell you it's bad too, but only if he loses to it. Then he'll tell you it's bad. It's 100% true.
Oh shit!
Oh man!
Shout out to Robbie.
Trey, any closing comments from you, Trey?
Tonight was fun. We did stay on topic for the most part. It's actually a good thing for us to work on, you know.
I agree.
Boom. All
It
right.
devolved a little at the end.
I don't.
But it's fine. We accomplished what we wanted.
We did. We got real far this time.
I don't see any more
I'm proud of us.
new
Good job, team.
comments, and I'm pretty sure I caught up to all of them. Yeah, they talk about. I guess they're talking about Green Android 13. You guys will see, but yeah, glad you enjoyed it. Rising Phoenix, Coop, thanks for joining. Shady3, thanks for joining. Thank you everyone for joining. Tune in again on Friday. I probably will do the same thing because for some reason this week they changed my schedule and I'm coming back home like at 9:45, 10ish. So I don't think I'm gonna have time to sit down and do this the whole time.
We'll cover it for you.
Thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you again on Friday. Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Deuces.
Awesome.